and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
Hey there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this very short video with me because I'm running out of camera battery, and it's about honoring our soul agreements and moving even deeper into our self-mastery. As you know, this was the entire topic for many of us, how to move even deeper and deeper and deeper into our self-mastery in terms of really being aware of where we are, where we begin, where we end, where another person begins. And we are really, in this ascension, beginning to be aware of our human experience and loving it. And I've said this to you numerous amounts of times, that we're actually ascending the inner child, the physical experience. The physical ascension is just what it is. So this means that in many terms, we are unifying our spirit and matter. And I've shared this with you so many times before. So those of you who are new, to just assimilate you a bit, and what does this mean? I am embodied on the wide ray of ascension, which is the knowledge of what ascension truly is in terms of unifying so deeply with ourselves and beginning to walk this path without any compromises. And as we've been walking this path, we've been making a lot of these partial compromises, but they were basically just experiences, the templates for us to start off our ascension journey. And many people call these soul agreements. So as we start to really respect and honor these soul agreements, we're going to see that basically what they are is they're just experiences that we needed on a certain level, otherwise we wouldn't agree to them. And as we begin to respect them so deeply, we will be merging with this greater understanding of what's the difference between soul agreements on the level that we still feel we need them. Every experience we have is necessary for a certain part of our journey. And therefore choosing our ascension fully, full-heartedly, completely, with all of our being. Because many times we still play and participate in these agreements, although they're just partial and they're just temporary and they're just these tiny chapters, almost like starting points before we really choose to honor our ascension full-heartedly. So a lot of these things include participating in things that are dimming our light. Or I've been sharing this with you before, they can be killing ourselves physically. I've been talking about this with someone recently. It's engaging in anything that deals with taking substances into our physical vehicle, like alcohol, cigarettes, smoking, marijuana even, because they give marijuana to dying patients because they are killing of cells. They're killing their cancer cells. So in truth, the whole meaning of this is that it does kill cells, and ascension is the celebration of life. It's not a celebration of death. It's the life force and how it fully flows through you. So as long as we're still participating in these partial soul agreements, we're not still full-heartedly choosing our ascension, and that's fine, because these are like jumping points to like tiny little booms into leading us into this huge boomerang experience. It's almost like this big bang that eventually we full-heartedly, with all of our being, choose the celebration of life, which is ascension. So choosing it and our self-mastery partially, or choosing it wholeheartedly, is a big difference. So as we begin to more deeply choose our ascension, we're going to see that everything that it comes from our life force is to be celebrated, and to really experience ourselves as our only master. So a lot of people say, I'm master, we're all masters, but it's fine to say that, but it's a different thing to embody it or just say it. Because when you really are a master, when you become it on that level, when you can master your energy on all levels and you full-heartedly choose ascension, that's when you really are a master. And when you will be at that level, you will know it. The whole of spirit will celebrate you. You will feel it. You will receive that staff of initiation. It's just, you will know it. And all these partial guidance templates you've been tuning into on all these channelings, and everything you've known so far will just dissolve, because you will full-heartedly take your power back into the unity field that you are, and claiming your full power. Power is not the same, to be powerful and courageous and to be strong is not the same as having pride or to be stubborn. It's not the same thing. So we have to know when we're just being stubborn, basically. And when we are, we're basically acting from our separate self, which again is just another agreement and experience. But to really honor Ascension on all levels and to step into our mastery is to, for example, a lot of people ask me questions. What is this, Polona? Can you tell me what is this? What is my experience about? And whenever we still feed this power to another person, we think they know better than our own soul. We're still not choosing our mastery. And recently someone said to me, because they've been having and experiencing these huge waves of energy and flashes, and they said, well, it's too intense. I better just go and listen to this master speaking, And I said to them, wait a minute, stop doing that. This is the old familiar when we kind of we want to numb the experience because we feel it's too intense, and we rather listen to a channel video or a master or someone else and their mastery. And the person said to me, yeah, because they have that mastery consciousness, so we plug into that. And I said, wait a minute, but you're still feeding their mastery. You're acknowledging and celebrating their mastery, and you're not fully allowing when you have that transmission and light download and it's too intense for you. Sometimes people say it freaks them out or it's scary. You're not fully being with the feeling experience. It's honoring your mastery even more. And I have a lot of people doing that. So it's basically we're numbing ourselves down with anything that lowers our life force, even in terms of participating in spiritual practices of other people or listening to these teachings and channelings while in that receiving flow. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, listening to other people, but a lot of times we give their mastery an advantage to our own mastery. And when you're in that life force streaming, and when you have that moment of, oh, I better listen to something, or I better tune into YouTube and see what videos, or I want to get a confirmation of what I'm feeling, and you're preventing the feeling experience to fully integrate in your body. You're walking away from that full-hearted integration. So you're choosing to ascend partially, but you're not in full feeling of it. So you're still giving a bit of that power away, and we have to notice when we do that. We've all been there, done that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but there's a difference in you choosing your mastery full-heartedly, not just saying it. People say, I'm a master, but then they take these choices and they don't engage in life physically. I've said this to you so many times before. Ascension is a physical experience, which includes words, actions, deeds, all of it. It's your full sovereign integrity. So if you're saying you're a master and you're mastering your mind and intellect, which is perfect because we're moving into the higher mind experience in your heart and all of it together with your physical grounded root itself. But a lot of people I've witnessed, they're saying things or they're false promising and they're saying things they cannot yet deliver. It's because they haven't yet realized that it's the physical we need to love, even if it's things that we sometimes don't like or we hate or we are annoyed with. But that act brings us the acknowledgement that the ascension is also how we act in the world, how we respond, because our love, the expression of it is physical. It's how we create with our love, whether we leave reverberations of it that are physically beautiful and expanding and nurturing, or we just think that, we're already telepathic, it's okay. Because I've had a lot of people that didn't engage with their actions. They said, well, can't you feel what I'm sending you with the frequency? And I said, wait a minute, it's not what our ascension is about, because we're evolving the human experience. We're loving and evolving it this way by engaging with our action self as well, not running away from it, because our mastery is not just in our intellect. It is a huge part of it, of course, to develop our higher mind, but it's not just there. We need to bring it into every form of our physical experience, and I've had a lot of people who are struggling with that part because they're not fully loving the physical experience, and they're thinking it's less than, and they kind of are judging it from this perspective that ascension means to be higher than the human, or human is the limited part, when in truth, to claim your full sovereign mastery is to love every single part of being human, which for a lot of you might feel still challenging. And people say, well, I've heard someone say that they've watched this video when someone was saying and channeling. That's why I always tell you, channelings are not everything. They can give you false imprints of things that are not really real for you. You need to choose your own ascension. You need to become your own sovereign. And in that channeling was someone saying, if you don't want to call that person back or give them a response, you don't have to. It's almost like, okay. And every time we have an expression, whether we will act from more love or just deny it or not engage with anything. I'm not saying that always will be guided to act that way, but there needs to be diligent weighing of the expression that we need to participate in with that moment, and the life force of pure spirit will tell us, it will show us. But if we just say something and listen, or people say, wow, you are what you attract, this superficial law of the attraction, the secret that teaches us nothing else but pure bull crap because it takes us away from our self-mastery. A lot of the things we need to experience as a part of loving our humanness, we'll be going through these initiations, and we're attracting things that we need for that level of the initiation, which brings us a certain amount of integration. So it's not the same, well, I'm vibrating and then I'm attracting on this vibration. Yes, mostly, but not all of the time, because we will need those challenges to challenge us into these aspects that we will refine in our mastery. So we can not look into it, and a lot of people don't want to. They don't want to fully embrace their master. They rather give the power to other teachers or other beings, other forces of light, but they're never fully stepping into it, or they're never going to fully want to experience how it is to be a master in this human, you know, because we've had ascensions before when we went somewhere else, and we've had that experience before, like spiritual ascension. But the physical ascension is something totally different, and it's an act of true love, just as much as it is of the higher mind. So I invite you to, when the next time you will feel urge to suppress yourself or move into numbing your senses or wanting to listen to something else, just be with the feelings, because feelings are so crucial. We need to express certain feelings. So it's a part of our soul agreement to feel that feeling, even if something you'll be feeling, like, it's a part of the clearing process we're moving through. I've had this experience recently when I wanted to do something, but the whole scenario played out in my mind, and I got so elevated in my feeling that when I came home from my running, and this is usually, I have this during my run, it has so many downloads and, you know, feeling expressions, and when I came home, the feeling was already neutralized. I allowed my human to feel those things, although they were not, you know, for me to actually do that actions that they were playing out in my mind. But I needed to feel them, I needed to express them, which is a part of loving our human self. And when those scenarios play out, they don't always have to play out physically. These are parallel timelines. As long as we witness them, we feel them fully, wholeheartedly, we're choosing to not suppress, then the scenario will neutralize, and we will see what then after we will truly be guided to do. So ascension is not the suppression and instant neutralization, but usually on this level when we're embracing the human experience, it's first the embracing, feeling the human experience, and then neutralizing it as rising higher up, from seeing things from the higher perspective, and then merging the physical more and more with our light body. And basically that's the whole process. So allow yourself to feel anything that you feel, or even if it's just a scenario playing in your mind, whatever it is, don't judge it. Feel what it feels like, because we've been suppressing so much. And you know, you can write poems, you can whatever you want, even if it's never about others. It's basically always about our own expressions. It doesn't mean that it has a source to land on, but we are the source of that expression. And for us to walk deeper into our mastery, we got to stop numbing ourselves down with everything that kills our light cells, everything that gives our power to the external resources, everything that you know, when we still use excuses to deny our mastery by saying, oh, I'm a master, so I can do anything. Well, basically not, because if you're not doing the actions within the law of unity, if you're not, for example, respecting the compassionate nature of all life and creation, and you're still invading personal spaces of others, or you're not compassionate with others, other beings of light, other forms of living reality, then basically you're just using your mastery as an excuse not to be fully in your light. So don't use your mastery as an excuse. You're still masters in training. We are masters in training. That's how I usually like to call it, because when we will fully be there, we will know it. This will be a big jump, and we will be there with the whole being. No more excuses, no more settling, no more using things as a partial truth. So that's what it is. We got to be really honest about this. A lot of people get very triggered when things like that are spoken, so they try to defend their partial truths. But the more we open up, the more that light can flow. And the thing is that we don't always, when we choose ascension, know what we're choosing, because it's not physical yet. So we don't want to sometimes deny certain aspects of us on the behalf of other aspects. We think it's going to be a sacrifice. We believe ascension is a sacrifice. In truth, it's not, because if we have that faith to trust, to choose that which we can't even see yet, but we trust that it's there, we feel it so much, then we will be rewarded so much. And I had recently this experience. I was willing to choose something which was such a compromise for myself, and I was willing to do whatever, and I was so humble. I would even say, okay, even that is enough. And then the universe said, you see, by being so humble and you know, it's not that pride to say I deserve better, but it was so humble. You say, okay, I'm willing to even accept that, whatever it is, just whatever, I'm fine. then the universe says, look, you know, they accepted this not really shiny cup. That's what we're going to give them now, the best cup ever, which is the highest destiny, the highest choosing. So you got to choose Ascension, even if you don't always see what it is, and you will feel it. There will be new pleasure streams, there will be new things, new essences we will be developing, but we got to choose it first, even if we don't always see it. We just recently watched Indiana Jones movies when he was going through that temple, when we had to pass those 3 tests. You know, they were written as archetypes, as riddles. And it was one in the end when he had to take a leap of faith, and it was almost like jumping into this whole abyss. But there was a bridge. It was just not visible because it was covered with something. But when he took a leap of faith, the bridge appeared. And this is what our ascension is like. We got to trust, and all the roads will be clear. So choose Ascension, choose yourself, choose life force. Ascension is the celebration of life. I love you all so much. So much love, wisdom, and power, and take care. I'll see you soon.